is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. In this video, we are going to talk about overpriced games at both flea markets and thrift stores. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. So really, this is going to be all about going to either flea markets or thrift stores and buying games or not buying games because they're overpriced. Now, I love to hit up Goodwills or pawn shops or thrift stores or flea markets as much as I can to possibly get something awesome or something great. Now, I have done really well here recently, and also I've found some things that I'm just like, why is this price so much? And so I wanted to talk about that today in this video. Before I get into it, yes, I do find great deals as well. I found a pair of brand new Vans that I am wearing right now for 10 bucks. My size, never been worn. They looked brand spanking new. And I couldn't complain about that. It was at like an antique slash thrift store. And it was pretty sweet. I picked them up and I was like, I've gotta get these because they're so cheap and I had to have them basically. But on the flip side, I always see things that are just ridiculously priced. Like, I'm talking about 4 or 5 times of what they should be. So I'm gonna tell a little story about this past weekend. Now, I didn't happen to film in this store, but I filmed some more stuff for a Goodwill video coming up on Saturday, so check that out if you're interested. I made some really cool stuff, I got some really cool stuff, and I went to some really cool Goodwills. But back to the story at hand, we were walking around this antique mall kind of thing, and I see retro games over here, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm going here. I don't care about this boring antique stuff, whatever. I'm going to the game. I see an Intellivision, I see a PlayStation 2, I see a PlayStation, I see a Nintendo 64, I see an Atari 2600, I see some PS2 games and some Xbox One, original Xbox games, not the Xbox One, Xbox original games, and I was like, oh sweet, I'm probably gonna find something over here that I want. Well, I walk over and I see they have kind of a bundle of Nintendo 64 with like the controller, no expansion pack, just the regular one. It had all the cords and it had like 4 games. It was like Kobe Bryant, like a Madden 2000 game, some racing game that wasn't really all that worth it. So there was like 3 or 4 games in the bundle and I was like, geez, how much is this gonna cost? And I looked down and it's like 200 super rare console, and I'm like, dude, it's not super rare. I have like 4 of them in my closet. It's not super rare. I also might have a problem collecting consoles, but we'll keep going. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, dang, that's way too much. I don't even want to look at these other games because they're with the PS2 and the Xbox original games. But I noticed under it was a Atari 2600, which is pretty cool. It was boxed. I also have 1 or I think 2 actually, 2 boxed Atari 2600s, and I was like, I'm gonna pass. I don't even want to see how much that is. Then I see the Intellivision, and it's like $250 with no games, just the system itself, and I'm like, I don't have one, but I'm not gonna spend that much money. Like, come on, people. There's this thing called the internet. You can look up how much games are. I could literally go to eBay and get that Nintendo 64 with those crappy games and a controller and probably not spend more than 75 bucks. But these people wanted 200 and I was like, geez, come on. And that Intellivision wasn't even worth looking at. When I saw it at 250, I was just like, come on, people, what are you thinking? Like, the games, they just had basic games and I was just sad, and it got me thinking, dang, how often do I find something and it's way ridiculously overpriced, whether it's at a thrift store or a pawn shop or Goodwill or a garage sale or people think they have the rarest thing, and I just think back and I'm thinking, that really sucks, because I hate to go to these places and people be like, oh, well, on eBay it's selling for this. And honestly, I want to be like, well, why don't you go on eBay and sell it for that? But that's set that aside. I try to be nice about it, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I already have one of these. I was just looking at it. That's too much for me to pay. And most people are like, okay, that's cool, but some people are like, oh, well, what would you pay? And I'm just like, I cannot pay $200 for this Nintendo 64. If you offered me $50, I'd probably still pass on it. So what? It's so hard to be nice and like not just make it blatant that, man, these people have no clue what they're talking about, and they are going way above retail or eBay or fair market value, whatever you want to call it. So that's one thing that I hate about it, is going out and finding overpriced games. Now, a lot of times what you'll see is overpriced games in kind of a different light, and this is kind of directed towards like thrift stores or pawn shops or goodwills, where they'll set a price. They'll say $5 for a video game. Well, if you find a Conker's Bad Fur Day, that's a pretty good deal. But if you find Madden 2000, that sucks. Seriously, no one wants to pay $5 for a game that's worth $1. So that's kind of the flip side. I'll always see Wii games or PS2 games or Xbox original games for $5, and I'll be like, oh, cool, let's go look at them. And then I'll see them and I'll be like, those weren't worth $2. Those aren't worth $1. Or maybe they're worth $5, but they're really scratched up, and so it's just not even worth it, to be honest. So those are two examples that I just hate about finding games. Is you find games and you're like, oh, sweet games, look at this, check this out. And then it turns out to be either they're way stupid overpriced because the people just think that what they have is super rare, or it's on the flip side where they just say, hey, all our games are $5. If you find some good games worth more, cool. If you find games that are worth less, still gonna be $5. And that's one thing I don't quite mind as much as the people that think, oh, my games are rare. But it does bother me. And also, one thing that really bothers me, and I almost forgot about this, is like, if I'll see something that's like worth $25 for $50, and people just keep posting it, like on Craigslist or something like that. If I see it on Facebook or Craigslist or anything like that, and it's been up there for 6 months at $50, and I offer you $20 and you get offended, it's like, come on, you gotta come down on price. If it's worth $25, no one's gonna pay $50. If it's worth $20, no one's gonna pay $30. You just kind of gotta look at what you're doing and kind of relax and kind of make sure that you handle things right, because people often either think what they have is super rare, or they're like, oh, well, you could get one of these on eBay, and it's just like, okay, stop. I'm not here. This isn't eBay. I don't care about that stuff. I'm not paying full retail. You probably don't even know what it's worth. So just give it to me for a good deal. $10, $15, and then people scoff at you and you're like, come on, I just want to get a good deal. This isn't your Walmart or your Target or your Best Buy or eBay or Amazon, whatever you want to sell it at for full retail. You go right ahead. But whenever I walk into a thrift store or a pawn shop or even a flea market, I'm like, you gotta know that these are used things and they're not gonna be worth as much as they are new. So just be prepared for that. That's one thing that bugs me though, is people that do that. So with that being said, I know this is kind of an impromptu video. I kind of went on a little rant there, but if you guys have problems with overpriced games, please comment down below and let me know, how do you see them? Like, why are they overpriced? And what do you do to combat that? So if you see something that's worth $40 and it's marked for $50, do you offer them $30 in hopes that they meet you in the middle? Do you offer them $25? Let me know down in the comments what you guys do in order to get things that you want that are maybe too high priced. So with that being said, don't forget about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Big Cartel, Patreon, All that stuff is down below in the description. Also, I want to say thank you so much for watching. This has been such an amazing year for me on this YouTube channel. We grew basically from nothing last December to where we are, about 1,700 subs, and that is amazing. And I want to say thank you for either every like, every comment, anything, any view, anything like that at all. Thank you so much. I am very appreciative of that. But make sure you don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you will know when I post more videos. With that being said, make sure you have a good day.